Ahoy folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So, we're carrying on with our series of Screw the Meta, let's just have some fun. And I've got a Zealot build for you here today. And I already know people are going to moan at me about this one because they moaned at me the last time I did a build like this. So let's just jump into it. So, I'm going to give you two melee weapons you can use. One is slightly more meta than the other. So we'll start off with the slightly more meta one, and then we'll go to the fun pick, which I quite enjoy. So, first of all, it is the Relic Blade. Everyone loves the Relic Blade. It's great. And this is how we've built this one. Hello, kitty cat. What are you doing? Sorry, there's a kitten crawling up my leg. Modifiers, yes, sorry. So, damage, finesse, heat management, and power output are all at 80, and mobility is your dump stat. And the reason mobility is dump stat is because I don't like it. And it is the dump stat on every single goddamn thing I use. Perk-wise, we're going with Carapace and Unyielding. This is going to help you deal with Crushers, Maulers, and big old bosses. As the sword doesn't really suffer from a huge amount of diminishing returns like a lot of the weapons. It can deal with flak and unarmored pretty well on its own, so we don't really have to buff the perks to, bring it up to that level. So the breakpoints basically are more generous on the Relic Blade than a lot of the other weapons, which is why we can go for Carapace and Unyielding. As for blessings, we're going with Cranial Grounding. This reduces heat build-up by 6% and increases weak spot damage by 4% for 3 seconds on chained weak spot hits, stacking 5 times. So this is a nice big damage buff and utility, because it keeps the sword cool. And of course, Rampage, which gives us 36% damage on hitting 3 enemies, which is pretty much most of the time, because hordes, So, that is the slightly more meta weapon. Now for the fun weapon. That is the Crusher. The Indignatus Mark 4E, to be more precise. Modifiers on this are damage, crowd control, power output, and penetration, lol. And defense is your dump. Perk-wise, you want to go for Flak and Carapace. And blessings-wise, we're going for Skull Crusher, which gives the target receives 4 stacks of 10% damage if already staggered, which is most of the time. And Slaughterer, which gives you 8% strength for 4.5 seconds on kill, stacking 5 times. I really like the Crusher. It's a very fun weapon. It's just a great big mace, and you run around smacking things with it. So, they are my 2 picks. So, as I said, you've got this slightly more meta weapon, and then the much more fun Crusher. So, pick whatever you want. They both work with this build. Next up, we have the ranged weapons. I am, again, going to give you 2 choices. We have the Flamer. Dump stat is mobility. Everything else needs to be at 80, especially burn and cloud radius. And I would even say ammo, because they did ruin the ammo on this weapon quite thoroughly when they did a balancing pass a year or so ago. So, for the perks, we're going with plus 25% damage to unyielding. This is going to help you melt bosses and increase critical strike chance, because this weapon does really like more crit, because it makes the ticks. God, I can't remember. It improves the ticks on the weapon. I can't remember exactly what it does because my memory's terrible. It either makes them tick faster or for slightly more damage, something like that. Sue me, I can't remember. Anyway, blessings, we're going with Blaze Away for 8% strength for every 10% of the magazine spent during continuous fire, stacking 5 times, and Penetrating Flame, lol. Direct hits apply 4 stacks of 1% brittleness for 5 seconds, stacking 20 times. Brittleness is rending that you apply to a target. Rending is applied to you, so the buff only helps you. Brittleness is a debuff you apply to the target, which the entire team can benefit from. So Penetrating Flames, lol, is very, very useful, especially for melting hordes and laying down a lot of debuffing on the heavier targets mixed in. As for the slightly more fun weapon, the Shredder Auto Pistol. It used to be absolutely meta, then they ruined it. It's still a very fun weapon. So, with this, your dump stat's going to be mobility, your perks are going to be as seen on screen, Flak and Maniac. Blessings-wise, Blaze Away and Inspiring Barrage are very good. Inspiring Barrage is going to help you farm back toughness. Blaze Away is just going to help you hit those breakpoints and do a little bit more damage. I don't actually have a better one at the moment. This is the one that I've been using for ages, and I can't be bothered to change. There you go. There's your 2 weapon choices for that. I would say neither of them are insanely meta, but the Purgator Flamer is quite good at the moment. So, there you go. Mix and match whatever you want. All 4 weapons all work with each other, so, use them however you like. Now, here is the point of contention where people are going to be annoyed with me. We're running a martyrdom build. Yes, we are. So we've got 2 Curios with +1 wound. They're spec'd exactly the same with 5 toughness, 4% combat ability regeneration, and plus 20% damage resistance to gunners. And then the last one is a toughness Curio, which is also spec'd exactly the same way. 5% toughness, 4% combat ability regeneration, and 20% damage resistance to gunners. And yes, I know this does not equal 60% damage resistance to gunners. There is diminishing returns, and this works out to about 43%. But still, gunners are awful. They are going to be the thing that kills you if you're not paying attention. So, gunner resist it is. Snipers, most of the time as a Zealot, you should be able to outmaneuver them with just your general insane amounts of speed. But gunners, they're generally going to be the more annoying thing out of anything else. Which is why we've gone for gunner resist. So, that's the gear. Let's take a look at the talents. Let's start in the middle. So, first of all, Anointed in Blood, up to 25% range, base range damage, reduced the further you are from the target. So, up close, do more damage. Purge the Unclean, plus 20% increased damage against infested and unyielding enemies. Backstabber, plus 20% damage on melee backstab hits. Blood Redemption, plus 50% toughness replenishment on melee kill into toughness boost, and then we're taking Enduring Faith, plus 50% toughness damage reduction on critical hit for 4 seconds. Second Wind, replenish 15% toughness on a successful dodge, and then we're also taking Blades of Faith. This is especially useful if you're going with the Flamer, because this is going to give you a longer range weapon to deal with trappers and anything that's basically going to run away from you if you can't get it with the Flamer. You throw a Consecrated Knife to deal high damage to a single enemy. Very effective against most enemies, less effective versus Carapace armor. And we will demonstrate that for you now. You're basically flicking frozen peas at him. But everything else, pretty damn effective. Not so effective against Maulers. I mean, I wouldn't waste them on an Ogrin, but you can if you want to. Not your mum, not going to tell you what you can and can't do. And then we're going to toughness damage reduction here, and then we're grabbing Dance of Death. Minus 75% spread and 50% recoil for 3 seconds on successful dodge. Thy Wrath be swift. Enemy melee attacks cannot stun you. On taking damage, gain 15% movement speed for 2 seconds. Then Good Balance. A successful dodge grants 25% damage reduction for 2.5 seconds. Then we're jumping over here onto the left side for melee damage, into movement speed, into Duelist. Plus 50% at weak spot and critical hit damage for 3 seconds on successful dodge. So, as you see, there is a theme running through here. On dodge, you get a lot of bonuses. Then Until Death, fatal damage instead grants you invulnerability for 5 seconds. It can only occur every 2 minutes. Holy Revenant, when Until Death ends, you regain health based upon the damage you dealt during Until Death to a maximum of 25% max health. Melee damage dealt heals for 3 times the amount. This doesn't mean that it heals for 75%, it means melee damage stacks it up quicker than range damage. But it's still capped at that 25% of your max health. Then Benediction, plus 15% toughness damage reduction for you and your allies in coherency. Then is the toughness boost, and then we're grabbing Fury of the Faithful. Dash forward, replenishing 50% toughness and gaining 20% attack speed for 10 seconds. Your next melee hit gains plus 25% damage and is a guaranteed critical hit. Then we're grabbing Redoubled Zeal. Fury of the Faithful now has 2 charges, so you can use this twice. Suppression boost, then into a toughness damage reduction, and then we're grabbing Faithful Frenzy, which gives us plus 10% melee attack speed. And then down into the point of contention for everyone. We're grabbing the health boost here, and then Faith's Fortitude for 2 more wounds, and then we're grabbing Martyrdom. plus 8% melee damage for each missing wound, up to a maximum of 7 missing wounds. I Shall Not Fall, Martyrdom gains 6.5% toughness damage reduction per missing wound. And then Maniac, Martyrdom grants 4% attack speed per missing wound. This is a very fast-paced, very heavy-hitting build. You just have to be slightly careful of the amount of damage you're taking. And I've already had this argument thrown at me in the last couple of videos I've done on Martyrdom. No, this build is not meant to be you stay at full health all the time and it's only used as a backup plan if you lose health. That is not how Martyrdom works. You want to lose health, you want to lose... Well, you don't want to lose wounds, you want to lose health. You don't want to have those wounds blocked out for you so that you can heal when you want to. This is not meant to be a holy crap, go Super Saiyan angry mode when things go rough. No, you want to lose the damage gently over time and keep yourself buffed up. Okay? So do not think of this as an emergency button, that you only want to lose health in emergencies. No, no, no. That's not how Martyrdom works. And I will not hear otherwise, because it is wrong. But, saying that, there you go. A fun build. You can use the sword, you can use the crusher, you can use the flamer, or you can use the shredder pistol. They all work. They're all fun. The sword and the crusher kind of work the same way. I mean, if you're being really reductionist in it, I mean, you press the extra action button, do more damage. And of course, the flamer is just, you know, it's a flamethrower. You brace it, you fire. The Shredder Auto Pistol. I am going to show this off if you've not used it before. This used to be one of the main staples of both the Veteran and the Zealot back in the very early days when this thing was ridiculous, especially when you added in the blessing that basically did the stagger damage, which I've already forgotten what it's called. It's been that long. Where the hell is my Shredder Auto Pistol? There we go. Pinning Fire, that was it. Pinning Fire used to be the thing that made this weapon. It's still quite good, just not as good as it was. If you want to take off Inspiring Barrage, you could put on Pinning Fire instead if you just wanted more damage. But it's a funny little weapon. It's got a flashlight on it, and it also allows you to shoot very, very quickly. And I mean, my Shredder Auto Pistol is goddamn awful. But it will quite happily kill anything. You know, it's the little workhorse of the Zealot and the Veteran arsenal. It's got a giant magazine on it. It has a lot of ammo. And it just does not get enough love as it used to. So, it's one of my top picks for weapons, really. So if you don't like the Flamer, take the Shredder Auto Pistol. Trust me, you will like it. There you go, folks. Martyrdom build. I do hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please do like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And I will sporadically be uploading just fun builds that aren't meta, because Fat Shark doesn't seem to want to do anything for us. So let's make our own fun, shall we? So, until the next video, see you later. Take it easy.